All right, see now.
Yeah, it's not working. That's already recorded.
Yeah, now I'm on the new one.
You guys ready to start? I got to start though.
I know. Go ahead.
Voter fraud stuff. Okay, that's awesome.
Oh, I got it.
How are
It
you?
works on.
Good.
At least it
That
works on
looks
YouTube right
awesome.
now.
You like it? This is Polish Agnes.
Hi, how are ya?
This is Rob Vidaro. He's the guy who called Chris Murphy a scumbag.
All right.
Remember that?
Oh, yeah. Good for you.
Come on in.
All right, we had a really big issue with this camera, guys.
Steve.
I will.
Where's Steve?
I will. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. We're ready to start the show. You guys ready? Yeah! We still have some people that are running late. That's okay. We got enough people here to get this started. I want to start with the Pledge of Allegiance, so if you guys could stand up and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pick a flag. There's one over here. There's one over there. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Can we give Steve, who allows us to use this place, a hand? Yeah! Thank you, Steve. We're going to have a great show today. My day started off a little bit rough. I fell down the stairs, I smashed my back, I hurt my legs, whacked my elbow. It didn't start off very good, but I had a lot of help from a lot of Patriots here to help me set up. I didn't do this all by myself. And thank everybody for helping me. Yeah. So, our first guest tonight is Rob Vidaro. You may know Rob from a few weeks ago. He was viral. He's the guy who called Chris Murphy a scumbag, which I thought was absolutely amazing because I don't like Chris Murphy. We're gonna put Rob on here and let him tell you how all that went down.
That shirt is amazing. You gave me one. Thank you so much. Yeah, long story short, basically, I saw Murphy was going to go down there, so I thought I'd go down there. And then what I ended up doing is I helped stage everything. So basically, I helped the Democrats and liberals set it up. So I put their border wall up. I helped them out with everything, so they thought I was one of them. And then what I ended up doing is, as soon as Murphy was up there running his mouth and talking garbage, I decided to sneak over the border. So they opened the gate, and I just walked in, and then went up, talked to Murphy, and then got arrested. But hey, it was worth it. It was worth a day in jail, okay? So yeah, no, it was a real blast. So thank you.
Rob Vidaro has a YouTube channel. Please give him a follow. He's basically goes out trolling the libs, which I think is absolutely amazing. He's making videos all the time, like I said.
And he's going to be on the podcast on Thursday.
Yeah.
Woo.
So. So the next person I'd like to bring up here is Dr. Amy Chai. Amy Chai is running for Congress, District 1. So this would be her district she's running for.
Okay. Hi, everybody. My name is Dr. Amy Chai, and I am running for U.S. Congress in Connecticut's 1st District, which is right here. And it's also that whole little lobster claw. I'm an internist. I do internal medicine and I do addiction medicine. A little bit about me. The first place I remember living was in an abandoned building with no plumbing, no toilet. I grew up in extreme poverty. The girls in my neighborhood aspired to be pretty enough to dance at the local nightclub, but not me. I took a job as a janitor. I went to Johns Hopkins, where I met my husband, who is an immigrant from Taiwan, and we've been married for 38 years. He's a great, great guy, and I have 2 beautiful children. I took 10 years off of my career to home educate them for middle and high school. And my son was designated the #1 graduating student in the state, and I won a U.S. Presidential Teacher Award for that as a homeschooling mom. I've written some books. I worked with an NGO for 30 years in the south of the Sudan and had some degree of effect on helping South Sudan to become an independent nation. And I wrote a book about that. And I also wrote a book of devotional book called A Cypress Will Grow, about people with chronic illness to help them with their spiritual journey through illness. So people often ask me, why am I running for office, right? And when people really ask me that, I have a Bible verse that I like to bring out. And that Bible verse is Proverbs 14:1. And I don't know if you know it, but it is, a wise woman builds her house, but a foolish woman tears it down with her own hands. And while you kind of sit with that proverb, you start thinking about, what is it? What is it that our leaders are doing in America, in the state of Connecticut? Are they tearing down America with their own hands? Are they destroying our legacy that we want to leave for our children? And that's why I'm running for Congress. So today, I'm not going to give my usual little stump speech about, securing the border, lower taxes, affordability, education, America first. Because I know that you guys in this room are all on board with that, right? Is there anybody who's not on board with that? Okay. Oh, George, okay. What I'm going to talk about today is how we as Americans can get our country back, #1. And #2, how we can win as Republicans in a deep blue state. So there's 2 brief little things I want to talk about, if you guys will allow it, okay? So all of you in this room, I want you to think about something. Is there something or someone in your life, in this life, that you would be willing to die for? Does anyone have that in their life? Okay. For me, the things I would literally be willing to die for would be my faith, my family, and my freedom. I would be willing to die for those things. But sometimes it's harder to actually live for those things, isn't it? It's hard to live for those things when nobody's standing beside you, when nobody's listening to you, when people mock you, when people give you death threats on social media, which I've had, by the way. It's hard to live for what we believe in, but we have to do that, or else we're going to lose what we believe in. So this is a very serious request. It's going to take all of us. The first thing I want to talk about that I will do when I get to DC is to enact a 3-part transparency bill for radical transparency. Radical transparency for finance, radical transparency for legislation, and radical transparency for education. Because we, as the people, cannot have a nation of, by, and for the people when the people are left in the dark. And why do people love the dark? People love the dark because their deeds are evil. And I want to go into DC and flip the switch, turn on the lights, so that we can have light and we can have truth. And that will enable us in real time to see where our money is going. Okay? Where is it going? Are we being robbed? I think we are. We can see, do you remember, how many of you guys remember the Affordable Care Act, where they said, we have to pass this bill to see what's in it? Does anybody remember that? What was in it? A disaster. It destroyed the profession that I love so much. It allowed men in suits to take away my autonomy as a physician and the way that I love and care for my patients. And I feel very helpless against this. We had no input for that. There was a supermajority in the Senate at that time that was gotten by subterfuge, but that's a story for another day. But we need to know what is in each piece of legislation before it's voted on. We need to be able to comment on that legislation in real time. And the third part of this legislation is turning a light on education, because there's nothing more important than our children and what they are learning in the schools. If you've ever read a book by James Lindsay, I have his book. Does anybody have his book? No? Well, it turns out that 10% of the delegates in the DNC are with the teachers union. I don't know if you knew that. And the teachers union funds billions of dollars to preferred candidates and to political activism. They're basically the Democrat, they're basically a Democrat activist arm. And they're stealing our children, they're hurting our children. So the Education Transparency Act will require schools to disclose the philosophical framework or the lens through which they are teaching the curriculum. And I've done the numbers for how this would be, and the expense to set up this infrastructure of education, of transparency, would easily be paid for if we just saved 1 or 2% of the billions of dollars of corruption that we face every year. So it's a really good investment as well. So that is my legislation that will help federally bring power back to the people. I also believe in term limits. But what about here? What about here in Connecticut? Why can't we win in Connecticut? We have to have secure elections, don't we?
Yeah.
And we have to get out and vote, don't we? This is where everybody in this room comes into play, okay? I'm going to tell you guys a little bit about what I intend to do to win the 1st district and I'm hoping that you all will join me in that. I intend to do a walking tour, and I intend to call it Heal Our Land. That walking tour is going to go from town hall to town hall through 29 towns in the 1st District. I have a paper in the back at that table where you can sign up with email and telephone to be part of those walks. This is because we have very little money compared to the Democrats. We have to get what's called earned media. We have to get out there personally, and we have to personally work to get eyes on the candidates and to get eyes on the issues that we wanted to work on. So I'm asking anyone here to join me, sign up on that back table for the Save Our or Heal Our Land journey of walking from town to town. You can just take one. Each one is maybe 6 to 8 miles, or you can just walk a little ways. You can use it as a prayer walk, or you can use it as a personal fitness goal, which is great too, okay? The other thing we need to do is we need to get behind every Republican candidate that comes through the convention, and we need to support each one. We need to work together to support each one, because united we stand. United we stand. And I'm asking you all for your support. I have some swag in the back. I have a nice mug that says spilling the tea since 1773. I have some 250 anniversary hats, and the first 10 people that donate $50 will get their choice of a hat or a mug, and any donation at all can get a lapel pin. I would also love to have people sign up to join the walking tour. And we've got to get our friends, we've got to get our family, we've got to get our words out. Because if you have somebody that you're willing to die for, if you have something that you're willing to die for, your faith, your family, and your freedom, you've got to be willing to live for them as well. So thank you so much for your attention. Again, I'm Dr. Amy Chai, and thank you guys so much.
Thank you, Amy. We were supposed to have Lorraine Hertner here today. I don't see Lorraine, so I guess she's not here. Lorraine does voter registration, so I was hoping she'd be here. I had some signs made up, two-sided. Again, it's just basically just a break even to get a message out there. We have them in the back. They're $10 each. I have the stand that goes with them. Again, the reason I had these, only 10% to 20% of our population actually votes. That's it. 10 to 20% of the population votes. That's it. So I thought if we had some signs made up, maybe we could motivate our fellow Republicans to get out there and vote. So this isn't really a money-making thing for James. I paid $8 a sign. I'm selling them for $10. I'm not retired. All I'm trying to do is get a message out there. I have 50 signs. Maybe there's 40 left by now. I don't have no idea. So if you guys want one, they're back there at the table. Like I said, it's just to spread the message, to try to get other people out there to vote. So with that being said, George Austin, you're up next. George Austin is running for District 2, I believe it is. Right? District 2? District 2?
Yeah.
Which is the whole eastern side of the state. I met George Austin August of 2024 at a rally that we did up in Massachusetts. I was in the wrong place, so was George. George got us there. That was the second event I was ever at. I'm extremely happy George is here, and I'm looking forward to hearing what he's got to say.
Thank you, Jimmy. Everyone? Try this. If I don't use the mic, can everyone hear me?
Everyone, I'm George Austin. Thank you for being here. I am running to be the 2nd District's next representative in the United States House come this November, and we're going to win. Everyone, I'm a devoted husband and father of 2 terrific young men. Normally I have them with me, so I guess Jimmy can be my son and you can go ahead and applaud him. But I'm more than that, everyone. I've led Gen Zers on the football field as their coach. I've suffered and succeeded in this state as a small business owner in the construction industry, which I'm sure many of you know is no small feat, given what Hartford does every year. And as a first-generation American, I am living proof that when put into practice, our shared conservative values breed success for all who seek the fulfillment of the promise that America makes. Now, for the past 9 months, I've been campaigning on family, freedom, and the future. And upon entering office, I vow to you today that I will keep these ideals in mind with every action I take and every decision I make. I submit to you that the nuclear family is the cornerstone of every successful Western culture, and ours in this country has been under siege for decades by the likes of legacy media, radical feminism, and the Department of Education. My bad. This is an issue, but as I've been campaigning over the past 9 months, spoken with a lot of young people on college campuses and at high schools, and I'm happy to report, to my surprise, the nuclear family is ready to make a comeback. So that's good news. Next, for freedom. For me, freedom is purely constitutional. I'm an aspiring politician, so that means I like to flap my jaw and exercise my First Amendment rights. I'm grateful that we have the Second Amendment to back that up. I love how unique it is to America that we have these two working in tandem to give us our Fourth Amendment protections that we can enjoy. That's Americanism at its finest. Winston Churchill said that the measure of a nation and a culture is made by observing how many people want in, how many people want out. And what's unique about us is our Constitution. So thank God for that. And folks, when we're talking about the future, I'm 38, and even at my age, I'm considering legacy. I'm concerned about what kind of state, what kind of nation, what kind of culture we leave behind for future generations, and for my sons, and for all our children. I'm concerned that our ability, and their ability, to continue to manifest our own destiny remains unhindered, and that our voice, our constitutionally protected right to vote, remains undiluted by bad actors. I cannot believe that we have to write something like the SAVE Act and pass it, let alone the fact that we have a congressional delegation in office from this state who voted against it, who voted against protecting our right to vote. But that's the reality, folks, and that's what that is the challenge up before us. So, I don't consider myself a 401k conservative. As many in this room, I think what unites us is our common concern to see that our culture, as I've spoken on here, endures for future generations. What do I need? Thank you, Palin. I appreciate the question. What do I need, folks? To echo Doc Chai, we need help. Obviously, we all need contributions. We don't, as federal candidates, we don't get any state grants. There are no quotas to make, no need for signatures. We just need help. Maybe not everyone in this room has the means to do it. All of us have friends. All of us have phones. We need to go beyond the keyboard warrior. We need to go out and find friends, make sure that they're registered to vote and actually vote. We need to make sure that their friends are registered to vote and actually vote. I'm a long-standing member of the CCDL, and I think something on the order of 40% of only 40% of our members are registered to vote. That's what got me off the couch, folks. I got sick and tired of complaining. figured I'd go ahead and do something about it. I am doing battle where we as conservatives lose, the youth vote.
Yep.
I spoke about Gen Zers. I've been on campus at Eastern, UConn, several high schools. That reception has been very encouraging. Not only the conservative kids who actually invited me, but anyone else. These kids are eager. It's very encouraging to see how eager they are to participate and to learn, because they're always getting talked at by career Democrats here in Connecticut instead of engaged with. Just a little thing to learn there. I'm also going out. We also have employed a very robust minority outreach program. Obviously, my family being from Mexico, I'm actively pursuing the Hispanic vote. That's going very well because we are very, very, I would say, innately conservative, God-fearing. We love the nuclear family. We're big proponents of protecting the unborn. And there's nothing like, Agnes, right? There's nothing like a legal immigrant, a naturalized citizen, to really appreciate Americanism at its finest.
I agree.
Am I right?
100%.
Because that's what we have to offer. We just have to make the case that our Democrat friends are destroying what immigrants come here to find. Rule of law, family, and prosperity, everything I'm running on. So, and then obviously, once we make some momentum there, I'm going to take this to the attention of the unaffiliated voter, the ever-elusive unaffiliated voter. In my district, I don't know about others, but in mine, 1/3 of my 64 towns, roundabout, the unaffiliateds outnumber registered R's and D's combined. I'm in Southfield, and I think the number is over 6,000 U to just under 5,500 R's and D's combined. Now, that should be encouraging, because what that says is that they're open to listening. They're open to having the case being made, but we have to go and convince them. That's what I'm talking about get out the vote. Friends of friends, make sure everyone knows someone who's registered to vote. Go find someone. Make it your mission to go find someone who's not registered to vote and make sure that they do. Why am I here? Thank you, Jimmy. I appreciate that. That's another great question. Folks, I'm here just hoping to spread the message. I'm hoping that you will join me on this quest in taking back our state, our nation, the 2nd District, for starters. Please find me online at votegeorgeforcongress.com. That's the word for, not the number. George for Congress on Facebook. George for CT2 on X. I know that together, with everyone in this room, we will make our broken, tired government hear our collective voices once more. And folks, we will make Connecticut great again. Thank you.
George has a Cook Partisan Index of a D+4, if I'm correct, right? Am I correct, George?
Yes.
So that is only one behind Jonathan de Barros, which is a Cook Partisan D3. So those are the 2 most flippable districts in all of Connecticut as far as Congress goes, as far as I know. Again, any of these candidates, you don't necessarily need to live in their district to help them out, just so you know. If you believe in what George is saying and you live over in Danbury, you can still help out what he's doing. Again, you don't necessarily need to be in the person's district to help them out, either monetarily, phone calls, door knocking, whatever the case may be. I've been helping out Jonathan de Barros, and I'm not in his district, so any of you guys can step up in the future and help these candidates out if you believe in them. This is Palin Smith, if you guys don't know. He has the largest, I'd say, Republican group in Connecticut on Facebook.
I won't use that. Yes, I will. I'll use this because my strength of voice isn't what it used to be. So you see this, you've probably seen a few around. But today, like Lou Gehrig did on that day in Yankee Stadium, today I consider myself the luckiest man on the face of the earth, because today I offer you a trifecta. I offer you a Murphy Must Go sign, and on the other side is a blank. You can put whatever you want about Blumenthal, about Lamont, or whatever. You can customize it any kind of word, I don't care what you put it, but this is a rally sign. You can get the stakes to put in the ground, but this is what I offer you. And as further offer, I have a kicker. From today, we offer, I have about 40 signs like this in the vehicle outside. You get one of these free, but with the stipulation, if you wish, which I ask you to be a wish. You get it free from me, but go to Jonathan Barros' table and donate to his campaign. The cost of the sign, minimum is $7 for this sign. Custom-made sign, you'll never find another one like this. So what do you think of them apples? Until they run out or until you run out of money. Thank you, James.
Thank you, Palin. So next I'm going to bring up to you Jennifer Damon, who is from the group Unite for Freedom. Jennifer and Linda both have been here in the past, and again, I've been following them for about a year now, talking about the voter fraud here in Connecticut. I think this is Jennifer Damon.
Hey everybody. So interesting thing, John Flynn and I sat in the back of the courtroom on Thursday. We went to the DOJ hearing where our Secretary of State thinks she has the right to fight the federal government to give them access to our voter rolls. When we have a company, Eric, that we all pay for, that she gives everything, the baby and the bathwater to look at our voter rolls. And that company is supposed to be cleaning up our voter rolls, removing the deceased voters, removing the duplicate voters, removing the people that are voted in 2 different places because they voted in 2 different towns in numerous elections, removed the same day voter registrations in Mansfield, Connecticut at UConn when they also voted at home in their hometown by absentee ballot. What I got out of the DOJ hearing yesterday is the attorneys for the Secretary of State office is fighting to give over the rolls because they do not want to have further violations or federal prosecutions because they are going to find illegal immigrants on our voter rolls because they're getting the STAT benefits, the housing benefits, everything else. They have a driver's license, so they were registered through Motor Voter. So that's what I think our Secretary of State is terrified of, is more prosecutions on different federal levels because they violated a lot. I have in my hand, I pulled it off of Pacer, the court website. The Secretary of State is trying to show the judge that yes, DHS will prosecute and remove illegal immigrants from the state of Connecticut if they're found on the voter rolls, because Mississippi and 16 other states signed a memorandum of understanding with DHS and our federal government to do exactly that. Connecticut is fighting that. So you need to make phone calls. You need to make phone calls to your state representatives, to Murphy and Blumenthal, or however far that's going to get you. The SAVE Act has to pass. The voter rolls have to be cleaned up. And we need to push for in-person voting. If the absentee for all passes, do not sign up for it. If you are sick, if you are in a nursing home, if you are in a military, you can vote absentee. That's what it's there for. It's not for laziness. We need to save our country. You need to take an hour out of your time on election day and vote in person. Don't early vote, because when you early vote, now they want the tabulators. They want it to go through the tabulators every day. There's no way to log accurately if somebody pushed the magic button to see what the results were for that day. They know how many Republicans, how many Democrats, and how many unaffiliated voted on that day because they're printing out the list of names of people that voted early. They just don't print out how they voted. But there are ways that they could pull that report and know how the voting is going the whole 14 days before the election. I don't I don't encourage early voting either. I only early vote the day before, the last day of early voting, because I work the elections. So I'm there from 6 o'clock in the morning until midnight at Central Count. I can't leave to go to my polling place to vote. That's acceptable. If you're in that position, vote early. If you're a nurse working a 24-hour shift, I get it. But if you are able to vote on election day in person, I encourage you to do it because it's going to matter more than ever this year. Linda and I also work with Unite for Freedom. We've worked on the voter rolls. We've given it to several of our state representatives and senators. They're interested. They're pissed at what they see. It needs to get fixed in Connecticut, and it needs to fixed quickly. And we can all do it together. I know money's tight for everybody. If you are able to donate time, go knock doors with people that you know that are running for your state representatives, your local boards. Walk with them, knock doors, volunteer for 3 hours on a Saturday to do the call banks. Anything you can do is gonna help, and it's gonna help get better people. 6 years ago, did you ever imagine having a room full of people that were concerned about what's going on? No, we're all waking up and we're seeing what's going on. That's why we're having things that we're having now. That's why we're getting together. And this change is gonna get new, fresh faces in those seats to help make decisions and to have somebody that listens to us. You think what just happened with these emergency bill passing, you think they listened to any of us? You think they listened to the 3,000 people that submitted testimony over what poison they're gonna shoot into your children's arm and your arm if they get their way? Or are you gonna have Department of Child and Family Services come knock on your door because you're homeschooling your child now? Or you pulled your kid out of public school and you're sending them to a private school? I'm proud to say my kids are in a private high school right now, and there is a waiting list for new freshmen to get in, and that says something about the public education in this state. And any little bit that you could do is gonna help. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to talk to your neighbors. You can go to your town hall and ask for a copy of your street to find out who's registered to vote on your street. You can go look at it, have them make a copy, and go knock on the doors of your neighbors and talk to them. That little bit is gonna help. You're gonna find you can make little neighborhoods of people that are concerned about the same things that you are. Get involved in your RTC, go to your town meetings, go on YouTube and listen to your town meetings. The mere fact that there's more numbers of people viewing their YouTube meetings of what's going on in their town is telling the people that are sitting in those seats, oh shit, people are looking. So I encourage everybody to start doing that. Thank you. Keep working hard.
Thank you very much, Jennifer. You can pretty much hear Jennifer on the CT Coalition on X on Wednesday nights. Her, Linda, myself, and any one of you can join us. Again, that's on X. We have what's called a space meeting. It's kind of like a Zoom call, minus you don't get to see each other. But again, you get to hear about what's going on. Any one of you could join us. Like I said, CT Coalition on X on Wednesday nights. Also, too, Agnes and I got some business cards, so if you guys want to follow what we're doing, we got both of our websites on here. In addition to that, we have a QR code if you want to register to vote. Basically, this is the state of Connecticut's QR code that we're using. We were using this last year as well. We were doing stickers last year. Just to get, again, everybody in here is probably registered to vote, blah, blah, blah. I've heard it before. But we all, again, everybody I talk to tell me, oh, I'm registered to vote. Well, that's great. Well, you know they're human beings, so, or again, I've run into tons of people that used to be Democrats, you know what I mean, now Republicans, or, you know, or unaffiliated, that we try to talk them into registering as Republicans so they can vote as in the primary. So, again, we got cards if you guys want them, we'll hand them out to you. Like I said, it has the QR code, has Agnes's website, my website, and all Agnes's social media. She's live streaming this now, so if you guys want to watch it later on, share it with your friends, so maybe your friends will come to the next event. We can give you these. Again, I got a box of them over here. Agnes has some as well. So, next I would like to introduce you to Matt Corey. Matt Corey is running for Lieutenant Governor of Connecticut.
you, everyone. It's always good to be here and look at the wonderful turnout that you guys came out on a Saturday afternoon where you could have done anything personal in your own life, but you sacrificed this afternoon to come out here to hear some wonderful speakers. How many people in here are proud to be a Republican? Why did this man here, this guy right here, why did this guy run for President of the United States? Can anybody tell me that? He loves America, and he wanted to give the voiceless a voice. And we're not seeing that, not only on the federal level, we're not seeing that here in Connecticut. You have a Democratic Party that has the House, has the Senate, has every single constitutional office and the executive branch. And what we've seen happen this week, last week, and maybe the last 40 years is the people who are Republicans and some independents and unaffiliated, they don't feel they have a voice at the Capitol. That's how and why I got in this race, and many races that I fought, to give people a voice, to give the working class people, families a voice, and in the state of Connecticut, give towns a voice for the unfunded mandates that are being pushed down from our state capital. Taking your rights away with vaccinations, what you teach your children. You know, school systems should teach their kids how to think, not what to think. If you're an engineer, DEI programs will not build bridges and roads. You know what builds bridges and roads? Math. Heart surgeons, DEI won't make you a better heart surgeon. Biology and anatomy will make you a better heart surgeon. This is what they need to teach kids in school to make sure they're successful in life. You look at our school system here in Connecticut, they're failing. They're failing our children. And you wonder why parents are pulling them out of our schools and homeschooling, or if they can afford, sending them to private schools. And there's no responsibility with the commissioner and administration. And I'm not blaming the workers that work for the state of Connecticut, because there are some hard workers. It's the leadership that's failing our communities and failing our kids. There's no oversight. So what do they want to do? They want to blame the families and go after homeschoolers. This is the wrong approach. What party would ever wish the failure of this country for political points? That's the Democratic Party. We're at war right now. We have congressmen, our congressional delegation, United States senators wishing for failure as our brave men and women are serving overseas, putting themselves in harm's way to protect the interests of the United States. And we have sitting congressmen, sitting senators hoping for that failure to score political points. Does anybody think that is right? This is an embarrassment of who is representing us here in the state of Connecticut, and I'm hoping our congressional candidates here, somebody, at least one, can win a seat down in Washington, especially when 42% of Connecticut is conservative and Republican. All I can say is thank you for taking a Saturday afternoon off, coming here, showing your support for whatever candidate you vote for, but you're involved. And I'm not going to repeat what everybody else says. I hope you can get a neighbor involved. I hope you can get a young kid involved. It's their future. And we do this for the younger generation. Why? Because we owe it to them. That's why Charlie Cook was out there. Let's debate. Let's have the conversation. But the Democrats don't want to do that, so we need to force that conversation. So thank you, James. Thank you guys for putting this on. I really appreciate it.
Something, again, I'd like to mention, you guys, may not know, I'm not an expert on any of this. I'm kind of new to the scene. But from what I understand, federal elections and state elections differ. And basically in state elections, when you give donations to the state candidates like Matt or Betsy, who's be here shortly, that unlocks grants for them. So again, I'm sure like you've seen Ryan Fazio and Aaron Stewart now are doing TV commercials. That's because they had to, from what I understand, raise something like $350,000, then that unlocked a $19 million grant. Could be wrong. I imagine the same situations with Matt. He needs to raise a certain amount. So these donations that you make to these candidates really are important. Maybe Matt?
Tell them, Jane, we have $500,000 sitting on the table. Whatever you donate, it's 5 times that amount. So if you want to get the young voices out, you want to reach the people that what you are saying here, if you want to reach those people, because we'll use that money to drive the vote out. So whatever you donate, if we hit that $100,000 mark, we can bring in $500,000 to use that. That's a powerful message coming from a group like this.
Can you come up here and speak a little bit more on it? Because we're all cheerleaders. A friend of mine, again, back last fall, he watched the live stream, and I was explaining what I do with organizing events, and then Agnes was doing her thing, and then John Flynn was on it, talking about him running, or not John Flynn, Jonathan DeBarros talking. So, long and short, my friend was like, what the hell do you do? And I explained what I do, and he's like, so you're a cheerleader. And I'm like, well, I guess you're right, I'm a cheerleader. So probably all of us are cheerleaders, so we don't really understand how the system works and how these guys actually end up getting their signs, their TV, ads and all that. So if Matt can maybe explain that to us, so we'll better understand. Like I said, state is different than federal, because you can only get money within the state, correct?
That's correct. So federal races, you're on your own. And so we've done well in the last few races that we ran on the federal level. I can't thank you guys enough for our support. I mean, we went after Senator Murphy as hard as we could. We have an opportunity right here. My race is over, hopefully not at the convention. I'm hoping I can get 15% out. But my race is over at the primary. And you can use that $500,000 all summer long, reaching the urban community, reaching the youth vote, putting up ads, putting up flyers, getting on the radio. That message resonates. Listen, the Democrats are going to use every means they can. Us being here helps out. Go to mattcoreyct.com. Donate what you can. And look, I know people are on fixed incomes. I'm not asking you to donate a lot. Whatever you can, or get a friend to donate. If we can reach that point, we have a $500,000 to use all the way to the primary in August to get the vote out. Whether I'm the candidate or not, it's going to help the ticket up and down. Help whoever's representing you in your district. That means a lot. That means a lot to your state rep, your state senator. We need to gain some seats back to give us all a voice, whether it's at the Capitol or in Washington. And that's how this works. Myself, it's 5 times the amount we raise. Other candidates is different. If you're running for state rep, state senate, I think they raised it, Mary, to $20,000, and you get like $125,000 or $140,000. That's a lot of ammunition to get our Republican message out. So whatever you guys can do, and I know everybody's tugging you for money in every which way, and times are tough, I agree with you. But if this is what we are, we can get people to donate, get your neighbors or your friends and say, look, what's your voice worth? Because it's not going to get any better if we keep putting Democrats back in office. We all know that. So, thanks, Jim.
Wait. Repeat your website.
It's mattcoreyct.com.
CT.com.
And it's Matt Corey CT on Facebook, Matt Corey CT on Twitter. So, and we've been trying to get our message out. And if you can't donate, share our stuff. Share whoever's representing your district stuff. Share the people that are running for federal offices stuff. Like it, share it, put it on your Facebook, whatever, Twitter, whatever you can share it with. That helps get our message out also. So we're all in this together, guys. So thank you very much again for taking your Saturday afternoon off and to hear these wonderful candidates fighting for all of us. So thank you.
Thank you, Matt. The state offices can only receive money from people in state. The federal offices, like the Congress, George Austin, Amy Chai, Jonathan DeBarros, all those which are federal offices, they can get money from all across the state, but people like Matt and Betsy and the state offices can only get money from people in the state. So, all right, next up, I'd like to introduce you guys to Linda Sinkowitz. Linda Sinkowitz is with Fight Voter Fraud.
I'm absolutely excited to be here to tell you different news that has been going on. I actually just drove back from Washington, D.C. about an hour ago. I have been down to D.C. 15 times in the last 9 months. Doge had contacted me. We've been working with the Department of Justice with 2 separate Deputy U.S. Attorney Generals, and if you think your voice hasn't been heard, it's been heard. When you hear that the Secretary of State is under investigation, what I can say is, you're welcome. That was one of the first things that when I went down and was meeting with one of the Deputy U.S. Attorney Generals, I brought with me the SEEC complaint that the 40 towns in Connecticut that could not legally run the election in 2024 because the registrar of voters were not certified. Absolute disaster. I sent all that information, 1,200 pages of evidence, a book of stuff, plus our analysis here in the state of Connecticut showing that Connecticut has been violating the NVRA, the National Voter Registration Act, as well as HAVA, the Help America Vote Act. I also, and it's really funny because when I saw Stephanie Thomas in a meeting in December, I told her what I had done. All that evidence that I brought to the SEEC, I hand-delivered to the Department of Justice. And 2 weeks later, I'm back down there again with some other information that we were working on. And I slid this letter in front of the Deputy U.S. Attorney General. And he looks at it and he said, well, Linda, where's the rest of the evidence? And I said, that's what I gave you 2 weeks ago. The letter from the SEEC said it was unnecessary to investigate. And even the Department of Justice could not believe it. So we have been doing a number of things behind the scenes in the past 9 months. I think one of the most exciting calls that I had gotten again was from Doge when they had called me. There's a lot of different things that we are working on behind the scenes. I've had people contact me and say, why aren't you doing anything? We have done more in the past year than I had in the previous 7 years of Fight Voter Fraud. Not just for Connecticut, but across the country. One of the things that I agreed to, and our evidence is going to be used in court, was that I would not tell people exactly what we were doing. Because I'm doing this for my country, which everybody should be doing things for your country, and not for publicity. That's why for the past year, you didn't really hear much of anything from Fight Voter Fraud. Because we have been working our tushes off. And we have been making a lot of headway. I can tell you, when I first started seeing different states that were being sued across the country, a big smile came to my face. Because I know what part we played in that. So, like I said, we have been doing a lot. There are a lot of issues. And as I have now been calling out the Secretary of State, when anybody says, why is Connecticut fighting against bringing everything forward? Are they covering something up? 100%. Our voter rolls in the state of Connecticut have gotten worse over the last 3 years. We do the analysis to show people who should have been removed, people who have died, all of that information. And I had been sending it to Secretary of States for several years to have them clean the voter rolls within their towns. We pretty much heard crickets. And after spending about $50,000 on that, I said, forget it, we're not doing it anymore. So you know what? If anybody here in the audience wants to know who in your town should be removed from the voter rolls, send us an email at info@fightvoterfraud.org, and I'll give it to you. And if you want the state overview, we will also give you that as well. Because we need to make a difference. We need to be watching our own towns. So the other thing that Fight Voter Fraud did beginning of January was we started an initiative called Operation Verify Voters 2026. And I have a program that I do called Sinkowitz, that I talk about national stuff. We're on Rumble, YouTube, OBBM Network, TV. We already have 22 states that have reached out to us that we do the training for. And it's, thank you. And it's very basic. There's a lot of people that don't want to join groups, but they want to help. Well, guess what? They know on their street who moved, who died, and the neighborhoods themselves. They know the people that are there. They know that there's 22 people living in that one family home on the end of the block. These are the types of things that need to be brought forward. And we are also there to help anybody who wants to do the challenges, who doesn't want to be the one to report it. That's fine. Give us the information, and we will make sure that we move it forward. So we have been doing this, like I said, all across the country. We want as many people to sign up as possible because this 2026 election is more important than even the 2024. You want to know why? Attorney Peter Tickton, which is Trump's buddy, he was on my show and I had met him a few weeks ago when I was down at West Palm. And he said that if the Democrats get a majority, this is what is absolutely going to happen. They're going to impeach Trump, they're going to impeach J.D. Vance, and Hakeem Jeffries will then be the speaker, and then he will be the president of the United States if the Democrats get majority. So what we need to do is we need to make sure every person who is over the age of 18 here in Connecticut, who is a U.S. citizen and is eligible to vote, needs to get out and vote. Think of it as Operation Buddy System. Do not go to the polls alone. It is your responsibility to bring at least one other person with you to vote in person. In person. We do not want people voting absentee. We do not want you to vote early voting because the Democrats are always watching, again, who has already voted. Now, we are up against a whole bunch of different things. And if any of you are wondering why Trump keeps pushing same-day voting, paper ballots, in person. Want to know why? Because of all the same stuff that has been going on that just happened in Texas in the primary between Cornyn and Paxton. In live time, the numbers were being switched. They were watching the votes, and when the votes are put into the system, they're supposed to stay there. They're not. They're there, they're disappearing, they're put back. In Texas, they ended up eliminating, I believe, 86,000 votes just within that Paxton-Cornyn race alone. They switched votes, and they also put double and triple votes on people who already voted. Fortunately, a friend of mine had called me. She had the evidence, and this will be the last thing I'll tell you. She calls me up. She goes, "Linda, I need to talk to Tulsi Gabbard." And I'm like, "I don't know Tulsi. I know a lot of people." And she goes, "Well, it wasn't one of your partners that you know knows her?" And I'm like, yes, okay, here's the phone number. And then I thought about it for about 2 or 3 minutes, and I'm like, oh, wait a minute. So I made a phone call down to Heather Honey, the head of elections for DHS. And I said, Heather, such and such needs to talk to Tulsi. She's got evidence right now in real time on what's going on in Texas. It's the same thing that's been going on across the country with the machines, and she really needs to talk to her immediately. So she said, well, Linda, give her my personal cell. I'm meeting with Tulsi tomorrow. So I was able to connect them immediately, and there's a lot of other stuff that was going on behind the scenes as well. I know I said I was going to say that last thing, but there is one more thing. One more thing, I can't help it. I never got into the machines. You know how we always had all the conspiracy theory that, all the votes were being switched? 100%. And it's been going on for at least 2 decades. But it is not through the internet. It is through the machines that actually have the card that's in your phone. Yeah. That is what is in the machines. That is what is going on. It is not the internet itself. There's a number of other ways. So we need to keep an eye on everything this election. First, the voter rolls themselves and who is voting. You need to get activated and be there as a poll watcher, a poll worker, stand out front, hold signs, but we need to be watching this election. It has never, ever been more important.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Linda. I'm sorry I don't remember your name.
Good afternoon, everyone. We need more energy now. We got races to win. Good afternoon, everyone. Now that is the energy that we will need to win. Now, I get it. It is discouraging because we are not only the minority vote, minority party, we have a super majority, which is dangerous.
Yep.
We need to understand how dangerous that is, because any monopoly is dangerous. Now, if you have any disagreements with any candidates, let's all agree, let's get consensus that we're going to put our differences aside and focus on the outcome. Ready? Ready? We got it? We got it? You may disagree with my candidate, Dr. Amy Chai, but let me tell you what the Democrats are doing before you want to counter out. They've created an org, 314.org. For January, for 2030, they are trying to recruit doctors. And guess what they said? They took the playbook from the Republicans. So we must get Dr. Amy Chai up there.
Yeah.
Not only is she a double certified doctor, she'll be the first woman doctor in Connecticut to run for Congress.
Yes.
So we got some virgins in the house. Right? But if you heard what our young man said here, the Fed's funding is different from us. So we need every donation we can. So right now she has a $10 campaign. If you could just donate $10 to we got Jonathan Barros over here running 5th to 5th. Let's give him a shout out. Where he at in the room? We must get our legislators to Congress. We have not had a person in Congress in the Senate since 1982 with Weicker. Now, we haven't had anyone in the House of Representatives since 2008 when Shays was voted out through Hines. So that means they're not even thinking about us on the federal level. But look what's happening at Congress. We got a slush and hush fund for those who are doing sexual misconduct. And guess who's paying for it, ladies and gentlemen? Us. Not them. If you do the crime, baby, you do the time and you pay the fee. But yet they're going out to our tax dollars. So again, I understand this is not an easy fight. The morale is low. But that doesn't mean we're not capable of winning. Look what happened in New Britain with Vaughn. He lost by 178 Republican votes. He was running to take Bobby Sanchez's place, who became the mayor.
Yeah.
Now Aaron's now running for governor. You see what they mean? The Democrats now, they don't sleep. When people up to no good, they do not sleep. So we're going to get some sleep, but we're going to be like a relay team. While Amy is sleeping, you pass the baton to me. I do my part. When you get tired, you tag Betsy in, right? You tag, we have to be a unit. And so you need to practice it. We need to practice this. There will be no division in 2026. So if you don't like me on November 4th. Like me up until November 4th. Until we get some wins. That's one thing. Number two, we must vote as a block. There is no way that 600 GOP members Republican members did not vote in New Britain. There's no way. Now, if you have questions for my candidate, Dr. Amy Chai, Talk to her. Understand the issues. She's not a politician, and that's why I'm here. If she was anything like what's happening in Congress, you wouldn't see me on this stage representing her. But she wants to represent us. So we will have to figure out the most important piece, I will say, about putting the differences aside. We're too fractured. And they know that on the Hill. They're banking on us fighting. Right? But think about family reunions. We may not get along, but mess with one of our children. We're showing up using our Second Amendment rights, our Jeep. We're using everything if you come to hurt a family member. And that's how it needs to be here. The goal must be in it to win it. Now, some say Congress is out of reach. But one thing the Democrats are good at, nipping away at armor. George Logan ran a very successful race. He wasn't even expected to get that close. He lost by 2,008 votes in 2022. Yeah. Imagine if you talked to your low propensity voters that you don't normally talk to, like your urban, your very rural. Please don't count the urban population out. The noise, the Democrats are good at bringing noise to the urban community. All you need to do is show up with the facts. They're not the urban community. I'm from the urban community. You don't even have to like me right now. That's okay. That's America. We can agree to disagree. But we must have one common goal. In it to win it, non-negotiable. Now everyone give yourselves a round of applause if you're in it to win it. You're in it to win it. My name is Glenn Samuel. Prove that message.
We gotta sign her up to run for something. Come on up, Linda DeLesio.
Oh, okay. Gonna take a bite. Oh. And everyone must vote. Your babies, if they graduate in high school, talk to them. Vote as a family, vote as a block, non-negotiable.
So, hi everybody. So I am the other co-chair of Unite for Freedom, which is a national nonpartisan group. We also are all volunteers. Unite for Freedom is not a business, okay? It doesn't collect a salary. I used to work or volunteer with Fight Voter Fraud, and I am glad that Linda Sinkowitz brought up the Texas case because that is based on Unite for Freedom's data. In real time, we did that. We have 95 forensic auditors, and we have thousands across the United States. Connecticut's voter rolls have been audited for 5 years. In 2020, they removed the voter IDs so that we were not able to see who voted. In 2022, they added almost 60,000 votes to the vote totals. This is based on the Secretary of State's own data that do not exist. We call them bloaters. In 2024, they added 243,000 votes to the vote totals that do not exist in the 169 town data. Our evidence is forensic evidence and it is courtroom ready. I'd also like to clear up another thing. In July, this evidence went to the FBI in Connecticut. It went to David Sullivan's office. It went to the governor. It went to the Secretary of State. I sat with Steve Harding in his office. I have met with Ryan Fazio, and they all have this data. Nothing happened in Connecticut, so then we contacted the federal FBI, and we also contacted the federal DOJ. The court case that was heard last week and Thursday is based on our evidence that was filed by me to that department. And I don't care who's fighting for election integrity, but that needs to be made clear. What I'm asking of you to do is to sign up for your town. We are going to be rolling out our scorecards based on congressional districts and based on the voter fraud in Connecticut. We call them scorecards. They are scripted for you. It's 3 minutes of your time because we are putting our towns on notice that they have to fix the fraud. This is enough. It is enough. I've been in this data for 5 years. It's disgusting. Over 10,000 dead voters are on the voter rolls, and they were there in 2025. Thousands and thousands of double voters. We're not talking hundreds. And yes, the fraud is enough to flip the elections. I saw a lot of candidates here that ran in 2024. They didn't lose. Understand that. These are federal crimes. I live for the day that the people in Hartford are taken out in handcuffs. Because they have stolen everyone's vote. They have stolen everyone's vote. So if anybody has any questions, you can go to Unite for Freedom and you can see all the scorecards for 35 states. Our auditors are serious people. Harry Horry is a serious man. So, thank you all for coming out and continue to fight.
Thank you!
Thank you, Linda. Next person I'd like to introduce you guys to is running for governor. Her name is Betsy McCaughey. Give Betsy a hand, please. All right, go ahead.
Thank you, John. Hello, everyone. Thank you for coming out. I'm here representing Betsy McCaughey. She's here. Thank you. Just a little bit about Betsy. Betsy is the former Lieutenant Governor of New York, former economic advisor to President Trump, mother, wife, grandmother of 6, and she is also the owner of one of the largest nonprofits in the country called RID, Reduce Infection Deaths. Because of Betsy, now when you have a loved one who goes to a nursing home or hospital, you are now required to declare in 38 states the infection rates. So because of her nonprofit, she has saved many lives. Everyone, please welcome the wonderful, my amazing friend, Betsy McCaughey.
Thank you. Both the Lindas for the fabulous work they're doing to make our elections more honest. Too bad more people in Hartford aren't paying attention to this work. So I'm Betsy McCaughey. I'm running for governor, and I'm going to work really hard to get your vote and to represent you when I'm in Hartford. I'm going to clean house in Hartford. I'm going to defend you against Lamont's housing law, which is destroying our towns. And I'm going to bring prosperity back to this state by, listen carefully, eliminating the state income tax. Eliminating it. Eliminating it. Let's start with the housing law, because so many of us in this room are affected by it. As I travel the state every night in 2 or 3 different beautiful little towns, I can envision the changes that will be forced on these towns by this housing law that destroys local zoning. This law says, never mind if you've worked for many years to afford a single family home on a quiet street, the government is saying, you can't have that. The government will come in and put a big apartment building right next door to your house, or even a trailer park, all for the sake of what these lawmakers call, and this is the exact wording in the bill, economic diversity, as if that's government's job. It is not government's job. So let me make it clear that on day 1, the first day as governor, that law will be dead, a dead letter. A dead letter. I've been in the executive branch before, and I can tell you, when you have a law as bad as that one, you just slow walk it, slow walk it, slow walk it until it dies of its own inertia. I will do a separate study of each paragraph in that bill. It'll take 40 years for that study to be finished before that bill is implemented. And that's how you get rid of a law like that, even if you don't have a majority in the legislature. Now, what about property taxes? They are crushing us, crushing us. Home values have gone up 50% in some places, 60% in others in the last 5 years. But that doesn't mean we have more cash in our pockets to pay soaring property taxes. Those are unrealized gains. So, the culprit is a state law, state statute that is forcing every town to reassess our home values every 5 years. That law is unconstitutional. It is a violation of the state home rule principle. On day one, I will freeze that 5-year mandated reassessment law. Freeze it. Oh yeah, I'm not doing that again. And push through the legislature a bipartisan bill that will cap the annual increase in property taxes at 2% or inflation, whichever is lower. Now, the fact that we don't already have that property tax is an indication of legislative malpractice in Hartford. Almost every state in America has that cap, except Connecticut. Even tax hell next door in New York has that cap. We ought to have it too. Now, seniors, oh, they have paid and paid and paid and paid. There are 405,000 households in this state run by seniors. 310,000 of them own their own homes. 235,600 of those homeowners earn less than $100,000 a year. And for them, paying property taxes is in the rear view mirror. They have paid enough. They are not going to be forced out of their homes by property taxes. It's immoral that that is happening. Immoral. Now, why am I emphasizing home ownership so much? Well, it is the American dream. Owning a home is the American dream. But Lefty Lamont and his Democratic cronies have turned it into the impossible dream because of all the costs. There's another reason I'm emphasizing it. It is our ticket to victory in November. Listen to this. 68% of Connecticut households own their own home. That is one of the highest rates in the whole United States. 68%. It's nearly triple the Republican registration in this state. Do the math. If we are champions of homeowners and everyone who dreams of being a homeowner, we can get plenty of Democratic and independent votes. That's how we win in November. We are going to fight for homeownership. The Democrat, I wrote a poem for you. Are you ready? This is my poem. Owners vote red.
Yes.
Renters vote blue.
Yes.
Fight for homeowners and it'll make a winner out of you. That's right. That's what we're going to do.
We're the only ones that sponsor everything in
Now,
the goddamn fucking state.
The red-blue thing, that dichotomy also explains the soaring energy prices. Lefty keeps telling us that our electric bills are too high because it was a cold winter. Hey, come on. Come on. You don't believe that. The fact is, electric bills are not high in red states. Oh, no. Your electric bill is so high because Democrats make decisions forcing our electric grid to be filled with very high-cost forms of electricity. For example, wind power. Now, if Lefty is elected again, our already unaffordable bills will double. And here's why. Here's why. Because he is signing all these contracts right now to buy offshore wind power at 86 cents per kilowatt hour. 86 cents. Nuclear costs 4 cents per kilowatt hour. Fossil fuel generated electricity, it ranges, but no more than 46 cents. So only a crazed ideologue would force us to pay 86 cents for offshore wind generated electricity. When I am governor, this state will not buy any offshore wind. None. None. It's not affordable and it's not reliable. And there will be no public benefit charge. People who believe in that should be in jail. That is just a felony. That's what that is. Okay. Now, once we lower the electric rates and we lower the taxes, we can bring prosperity back to our state. And that is personally very important to me. I grew up in Milford and in Westport. My dad was a factory worker at the W.E. Bassett nail clipper factory in Derby. We didn't have a lot when I was growing up. But Connecticut was the land of opportunity. A kid like me, you could dream of going places. The sky was the limit. And when I won a scholarship to college, and my dad put that bastard decal on the back of his old blue Dodge Dart and drove me to college, it was the biggest day of his life. The tears rolled down his face and mine too. I want that kind of experience for our kids and grandkids. That's opportunity. My youngest daughter lives right next door to me. I never let her out of my sight. No, she's a mother with her husband, and they have 2 little children. My little grandson Michael's only 6 months old. Do you think I want them moving to Florida or North Carolina or Texas or somewhere else for a better life, a better job? Of course not. I want to see them grow up. So that's why 3 weeks ago I went to the Capitol and announced that I will eliminate the state income tax. Read my lips, eliminate it. That's right. And I'm holding up this map for all the naysayers in Hartford who say it can't be done. Because take a look at all those yellow states. They are doing it. That's proof it can be done. And I'm doing it the same way. I've read the bills they passed to make it possible. We can eliminate the state income tax. Being a high-tax, low-growth state is not an act of nature or an act of God. It is the result of bad decisions by Democratic politicians. Yeah. And once we lower the income tax and eventually eliminate it, companies are going to start moving to this state. 84, 95, 91, Route 8. They will be jammed with moving vans coming into our state instead of leaving our state. We will have prosperity again, real job opportunity again. And Connecticut will become the tax haven of the Northeast. Think Florida without the palm trees. That's right. It's going to be terrific. And it can be done. What you do is you pass a bill and you say every time revenue increases 5%, that money must go for only one purpose. Not new programs, that's what Lamont always does. Not more new spending, no. It will be used to cut the income tax rate. It will go down, 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 and all the way to zero. South Carolina just passed that law 2 weeks ago. We can do it too. We can become a zero income tax, prosperous Republican state again. That's right. 1991 was not that long ago. Now, I want to talk with you about just one more issue. The most important issue of all. Winning! It's about time we won again, right? We need to win. Now, there are 2 other people in this race for the Republican nomination. They're both very fine people, and I'd like to reiterate the concept of unity, backing the winner. They're very fine people. But I urge you to give me the nomination because you need a battle-tested fighter. So I'll leave you with this story. Back in 1994, there was another governor, lefty governor, this one in New York. He wanted a 4th term, if you can imagine. Mario Cuomo. Oh, they thought he was a god. They thought about putting him on the United States Supreme Court. Everybody said, nobody can beat Mario Cuomo. But 2 kids in New York, George Pataki and Betsy McCaughey, said, okay, we're going to try. And we crisscrossed that state with a map not unlike this one, and a plan to bring prosperity to New York. We went back and forth with our plan, and we kicked his butt in 61 out of 62 counties. We whipped him from one end of the state to the other, and that is what I'm going to do to Ned Lamont. Please do me that. Any questions?
Axe the tax.
Axe the tax. Have you heard the radio ads? They just went up Friday. Axe the tax. We're going to axe the tax.
What are you going to do for the farmers?
The farmers. Well, first of all, property tax relief. They got really ripped off in that housing law, even after the adjustments, right? Agriculture is a treasured American profession. We must protect it. We must protect it. And when I drive around the state and I see farms that are clearly in economic trouble, we must help them. And tax relief and regulatory relief are the two first places to go. Thank you. Vaccines. No mandatory vaccines. Yeah. No mandatory vaccines. Freedom! Oh, Linda, very good presentation before.
Will you set up a separate agency for Doge in Connecticut?
Oh, I love that idea. First of all, I'm big Elon Musk. Big Elon Musk. And we will need those because there will be no increase in spending. You see, in order to eliminate the income tax, we're going to lock the spending. Lock it. Cap it. And so, of course, we will need Doge very much. I wanted to say one more thing, thinking of Linda, because she's so good at what she does. I'm so impressed with what you do. Election fraud. Stolen elections, over. I'm just going to say this. If I'm your candidate for governor, I'm going to have my own election integrity team, photographers and lawyers ready, looking at what we call the suspect polls, right? The ones that always find a bag of ballots at 10 o'clock. And on election night, if they say the Democrat has won, I will not concede. I will not. That's over. We will have an investigation. I am not conceding. Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Are we going to do anything about the chemtrails?
Chemtrails. Are you going to do about chemtrails?
Oh, I need to know more about that. Let's talk about it afterward.
Okay.
Thank you.
So I'm going to announce, I have two important events that are coming up that I'm going to announce. So I'm proud to say that we are having our first event on March 25th, and Betsy McCaughey is fully endorsed by the current advisor to Trump, Dick Morris. He will be there in person on the 25th in Greenwich. That won't be your only time to meet him. And we are having our second event, a rally at the Capitol, because we are pro-2A with Dick Heller, and she is fully endorsed by Dick Heller as well. Thank you.
Is this Dick Heller that has the federal case?
Absolutely.
The 2A case?
Yes.
That did he win that case?
He did win that case at the Supreme Court level, yes.
Was that the one that was 3 years ago, if I remember right?
I'm sorry.
The Heller case. That's the one that came out, the decision 3 years ago?
Yes.
Justice Clarence Thomas?
Dick Heller, champion of 2A in the United States Supreme Court.
I don't know if you guys know about how important that case was, but that basically said history, text, and tradition is supposed to be the balancing test for our Second Amendment rights. So basically the period from 1791, not 1776, but 1791 to after the Civil War, which is 1865. So whatever went on from 1791 to 1865 is supposed to be the balancing test that this guy, Dick Heller, won that case almost 3 years ago. It was on Clarence Thomas's birthday that they made that announcement. So that is a huge win.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. The next person I'd like to introduce you to is Anne-Marie Brousseau. You don't know Anne-Marie, she was at Mike Lindell's Cyber Symposium in 2022, speaking on behalf of Connecticut, and now she's doing some other important things.
I can never shut up, is what he's trying to tell you. I have worked for Mike Lindell in Cause of America since 2020. He's pushing to have hand count ballots to eliminate the machine. And I don't know if you're aware of it or not, but they had a bit of a problem down in Georgia. You might have heard about it. Well, what was identified in Georgia was China interfered with the election results. Not only China, but apparently Russia had something to do with it too. That right there gives President Trump the ability to write an executive order to take over control of the elections. It's the machines that are doing this. However, in order for us to be able to hold legal elections in the state of Connecticut, we got two choices. We can go back to those lever machines, which I kind of like. I freaking love those. But Mike Lindell is going to offer training for hand counting the ballots, which is actually a lot easier than you may think it is. It can be done just as quickly as scanning the ballots. But we are conducting training in the state of Connecticut, and we need to prove to the registrars that we have people trained. So what we'll do is I am actually in the process of scheduling training right now. We'll take your names down, we'll conduct the training. It's really a short training. Right now I'm planning on having it at J. Ruse in North Haven. If you're interested in joining the team to be able to do the hand counting, get your name to the registrar, showing them that you're trained to do it, all you need to do is write your name down in my little silver book right here, and as soon as I have a date, I will absolutely be contacting you so that we can man the polls legally and do it right. Thank you very much. Have an awesome day.
Anne-Marie is sitting right over here at this table. If any of you guys would like to get involved, to be able to learn how to hand count ballots, connect with Anne-Marie, and she will give you an opportunity to get involved to try to help save our country. The next person I'd like to introduce to you is trying to flip the 5th district, my friend, Jonathan Barros.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, James Myers, and also his beautiful girlfriend. She's actually the backbone to him right here, but she's in the back. Kathy Moore. Thank you for everything you guys do. I've been running around crazy, as everybody knows, trying to win this seat. This seat right here is very winnable. It's a swing district, and the reason why it hasn't been flipped yet is because they didn't want it to be flipped. They either didn't want it to be flipped, or they just couldn't find the right person to get the job done. But I think that by me running through the circuit and seeing the corruption within our own party, I believe that everything that has been done to us has been done intentionally. We got a uniparty in the state of Connecticut. I'm breaking through it, and excuse me, everybody. I just want everybody to know that everything that you're losing in the state of Connecticut is being lost on purpose. You got Democrats and Republicans working together. It's been going on for far too long. I've been offered money. I've been offered all types of bribes, and I turned down the bribes. Like I said, I don't want no endorsement. I don't want no endorsement for the independent party unless they publicly apologize to President Trump. Because some of you know about the forms that they was trying to make people sign in order to get a cross endorsement. They wanted me to sign a paper in order to get a cross endorsement for the independent party last year because they wanted me to publicly denounce President Trump, and I refused to do so. And the reason being is that they tried to offer me $100,000. They said that we could possibly get you a campaign contribution from Eversource for $100,000. Those of you that don't know, if you look up who owns Eversource, it's owned by Vanguard and BlackRock, the same corporations that allegedly attempted to kill President Trump and possibly kill Charlie Kirk. So they tried to buy me early when they knew I filed with the FEC. I have two witnesses that are here tonight that was at that meeting. So nothing that I'm saying is a conspiracy theory. This actually happened. They tried to buy their candidates. I believe Eversource probably owns most of the politicians that are working in our state, and that's why nothing's getting done. I'm the only candidate that I know that has publicly came out, and I'm pretty sure that every other candidate was offered the money. So a lot of them, they're bought and paid for. I got threatening. My wife could tell you, they sent me letters in the mailbox threatening me. I don't go on the news with a lot of this because I know how they handle it, because I don't trust the news either, because the news is work. All the news media in Connecticut is bought by them too. But they never anticipated someone like myself coming up to fight back, and everybody knows my story. If you don't, you get a palm card, you'll go on my website. But I was wrongfully incarcerated. I spent 19 years in prison. I was attacked by gang members in the 1990s in the city of Waterbury. One of them had a loaded firearm. I was forced to defend myself using deadly force. A Democrat-appointed prosecutor concealed the loaded firearm that they had in their possession in order to secure a murder conviction. They convicted me of murder and sentenced me to a life sentence in prison. But while I was in prison, I just came across the right people at the right time. I read the right books. I educated myself, and it prepared me for what I'm doing right now. And then a 3-judge panel overturned my conviction, and I was released from prison, and then I received a full and absolute pardon for being wrongfully incarcerated. But now I'm going after them. Ned Lamont signed my pardon papers. They thought it was going to shut me up, and I was going to disappear. But no, they got to pay for what they did to me, and they did to my community. The 1994 crime bill that was passed by Strom Thurmond and Joe Biden wrote the 1994 crime bill. And those of you that don't know Strom Thurmond, he filibustered the civil rights bill. The Democrats destroyed the black community. The Democrats, the same Democrats that's destroying America, they targeted the black community first. That's why I had to start campaigning in the cities over a year ago, because they brainwashed black Americans for over 60 years. So that's why I'm telling you right now, they don't know what to do. Because the Republicans was playing identity politics with George Logan. They found George Logan to run against Johanna Hayes. And they thought that his skin color and being that he could speak Spanish, that was enough. But George Logan was owned by Eversource. He worked for the water company that was owned by Eversource. And George Logan, he ran a soft campaign. Everybody says he lost by 2,000 votes. They probably was shitting themselves like, damn, I can't believe he came this close. So they made sure it didn't happen again, and then he lost by 23,000 votes the next time. They don't like me saying this. But you guys need to know what's going on. They tried to rig the delegates in Waterbury not too long ago, Wednesday night. Overwhelming support in the RTC. 98% of the Waterbury Republican Town Committee backs my campaign. But the chairwoman. Well, she's not the chair now. She just stepped down. But the chairwoman tried to rig the delegates with Jeff Santapetro, from Florida. They got somebody from Florida that got more influence on the RTC in Connecticut. That's ridiculous. Jeff Santapetro is the brother of Mayor Santapetro from Waterbury that went to prison years ago. He still has a Waterbury address, but he doesn't live here. But he runs that committee with Ben Proto in State Central. They thought they was going to rig the votes. I've been telling you guys since last year that they was going to run a rhino against me. I was waiting for him to come out, so they found a naval SEAL to jump on the ballot. Someone who they knew couldn't beat me, but the whole purpose was he looks amazing on paper. But he's not going to win. But it's not meant for him to win. It's meant for him to raise as much money so they can keep the money and Johanna Hayes can keep the seat. This is the game they play. Well, I'm not going to back down from them. I'm going to say, in order, our cook partisan index rating in our congressional district. The reason why District 5 is so important and the whole country's watching. The whole country is watching me right now because District 5 is the only swing district in the state of Connecticut. Our Cook PVI is a D+3 rated district, meaning the Cook Partisan Index rating, that's the rating system that they rate congressional districts throughout America. The D stands for Democrat, the plus stands for more, right? So it means the Democrats carried the 5th congressional district 3 points above the national average in the presidential election, right? That's what voter fraud. Just to give you a comparison, District 1, which is, if my Cook Partisan Index rating is a D+3, District 1 is a D+12, right? That's John Larson's district, Hartford area. District 4, D+13, meaning the Democrats carry the 4th district by 13 points above the national average. So they got the most registered Democrats. My district has the least amount of Democrats. It could be flipped, but you gotta get at least 40% of the urban vote in order to flip the district. George Logan did no urban outreach. He wasn't even from my district. He was from Ansonia. They got him an apartment in District 5 in Meriden. He was from District 3, Rosa Dolores district. This is the games Ben Proto and all them play, right? They found somebody that looked nice and clean. I'm not a squeaky politician, right? So I don't fit the mold. They can't market me in a way for them to get the money. And plus, I'm not gonna let them control my campaign. They've been trying to infiltrate my camp for a long time. That's why nobody knows who's my campaign manager. I don't have one campaign manager. I have a campaign management team, and my team is multiple people. So you can never infiltrate my camp by one person. If they offer me $100,000, what would they offer one person if they thought that person controlled my camp? That's why nobody controls my social media. Everybody has always asked me to control, they wanted access to my social media and my websites. I'm not gonna let you control my means of communication. So I'm telling you how I'm gonna win. I'm gonna get 60% of the urban vote because I know I need 40, but I know that there's voter fraud, so I'm going for 60%. I got 4 cities. I got Meriden, I got Danbury, Waterbury, and New Britain. If I get 15% of the vote from each one of those cities, and as long as the rural areas stick behind me, I'm gonna flip this district red. We got 22 congressional districts in New England. They're all held by the Democrats. But like I said, this district right here is very important, and that's why they don't want me on this ballot, because this is the money maker. The PAC money never goes to District 1, it never goes to District 3, it never goes to District 4, it always comes to 5, because this is the only swing district. And that's why they're pissed off, because I'm in their way, and I'm gonna stay in their way. And I'm not backing down. Like I tell them, they got to kill me with me off this district. So I just want everybody to know the reason why I've been crisscrossing the country, jumping on airplanes. I went to AmFest USA, Turning Point in December, Vegas, all over the places, because I gotta bring enough attention back to the 5th district, because George Logan ran such a weak campaign last time. They took $600,000 from Super PAC money out of his campaign and directed it to another state. The money's never going to come back to Connecticut because they know there's so much corruption in our own party that they don't trust any other candidates. That's why I'm a hot topic around the country right now, because I'm kicking ass and I'm calling Ben Porter out to his face. So I'm asking everybody, if you guys want to make history and you guys want a voice in Washington, D.C., I don't care what district you in, help me in the 5th district and I'm going to get the job done, and then we're going to go back for the rest of the seats in 2028. So now, another thing is, I just got a question. Who's running against William Tong? We got 3 people here running for governor.
Jessica Cordes.
Who is she?
She ran against him last time.
And what happened last
She
time?
was awesome.
Where is she?
He cleaned her clock in the debate.
My thing is this, right? The person's running, if you're running against William Tong, you should be the most important person. William Tong filed 50 lawsuits against the Trump administration, using our tax dollars, right, to protect illegal migrants. You would think that the person running against Attorney General Tong would be here. Should be everywhere. They should be the most famous candidate in the state. I wish I was a lawyer because I'll be going after his ass. But I can't do it. I'm not an attorney. Now, so John Flynn, please find that lady and tell her that we need to hook up because we got to promote her and we got to help her to get his ass out of office. Yes. So I'm asking everybody if you guys could donate $5, $10, whatever you could donate to my campaign. I'm not controlled. I didn't take the money from Eversource. I don't want the independent party's endorsement. I'm running on the Republican line. I'm fighting tooth and nail. Me and my wife, we put a lot of our own resources up for this campaign, and we need as much help as possible. Yeah. I could beat her with $500,000. Yes. I know I can. You know how I know? Now they're gonna try to push Chris Shea and say, "Oh, Chris Shea, when his quarterly report comes out, I guarantee you, he has a lot of money in his quarterly report because the people."
He already said it.
Yeah, because the people, he took the money from the people. The same people that wanted to keep me off this ticket to protect Johanna Hayes, guaranteed. But the thing is, this is the magic trick, right? I'm about to show you what's going on. Michael Massey. I don't know if you know Michael Massey. Michael Massey ran in 2024 against Rosa DeLauro. Michael Massey's Cook Partisan Index rating in New Haven, right? Rosa DeLauro's district, the 3rd district, is a D+8 rated district, meaning the Democrats carried the 8th congressional district by 8 percentage points above the national average in the 2020 presidential cycle. Cook Partisan Index rating, once again, in the 5th district is a D+3. It's easier to flip this district. Do you know that Michael Massey gave Rosa DeLauro her toughest race? She won by her slimmest margin in 2024 in over 30 years against Michael Massey. You know how much money Michael Massey raised? $3,500. Check his FEC reports. You know why he was able to do it? Urban outreach. New Haven. Right? George Logan raised $3 million and the Cook Partisan Index rating of a D+3 and got his ass handed to him. You know why? Because that was part of the plan. Because let me tell you something. When you're on a presidential ticket with President Trump, who survived 2 assassination attempts, or 3, they tried to put him in jail. They did everything to him. And he still came out of it. And you don't even got the balls to stand behind him and say, I support President Trump? That's crazy. Now, another thing is this. He failed to publicly endorse President Trump on a presidential ticket with President Trump's name on it. He flip-flopped on his pro-life stance, and he did 0 urban outreach. He didn't go into the communities to talk to nobody. He was always in Litchfield playing his guitar, playing games, marching with the veterans. They've been playing games with all of you for far too long. I'm telling you. I'm waking everybody up because you got to be woken up. We got to fight back though. Now we got to fight back. So now, also they want to tell you you can't run a MAGA campaign in Connecticut. You'll never win. They're full of shit. Now I'm gonna prove to you that they're full of shit because if you look it up, the Republican primary between President Trump and Nikki Haley in 2024 in Connecticut. Look up the results. President Trump got 78.9% of the vote in the state of Connecticut against Nikki Haley, right? 78.9% of the vote. That's what voter fraud. That's what voter fraud. He got 78.9% of the vote. General election. The general election against Kamala Harris, President Trump still got 42% of the vote in Connecticut with voter fraud. And we know it's voter fraud because they got caught stuffing the ballots. Wanda, the ballot stuffer, you think she was the only one? So if he got 42% of the vote in Connecticut with voter fraud, that means he carried the state. The reason why they don't want you to publicly say Trump's name is because the unaffiliated voters, which is the biggest voting bloc in the state of Connecticut, you got a large portion of them that support President Trump. The independents that like President Trump. The reason why they didn't turn out to the polls in 2024 is because every single candidate on that ticket, except for Matt Corey, didn't want to support President Trump. That's why they lost. So, you want to energize the base? You want to energize the base, you got to go out here and kick ass and do what I'm doing. You know, I'm telling you right now, we can get things done. But now we got all this shit about AIPAC. President Trump is controlled by AIPAC. Israel is controlling President Trump because he bombed Iran. President Trump's been talking about going after Iran since the 80s. Since the 1980s. They're trying to divide our movement. Marjorie Taylor Greene, I love her, but for some reason, somewhere down the road, she went astray. And I'm telling you right now, these conspiracy theories are only going to benefit them, right? They're going to benefit them. They killed Charlie Kirk before the midterm election because they knew he was going to get all the young people excited about going to the polls. And as soon as they killed Charlie Kirk, they didn't waste no time. They started going after Turning Point USA. All these conspiracy theories, I'm telling you, was all designed to keep us distracted and divided. That whole Epstein bullshit, Epstein's list is a distraction. I'm gonna tell you why. Because if they had a list with President Trump's name on it, why didn't they use it in 2016?
Yeah, exactly.
Hillary Clinton would be the president. She would have been the president. You think Israel wouldn't love to have Netanyahu wouldn't love to have the Clintons in there? All the dirt they got on them? Come on, man, stop playing. You guys are falling for the bullshit, and we gotta stop that because 2020.
Yes.
In 2020, why didn't they use the Epstein list against Trump in 2020? Why did they go so hard with voter fraud, COVID? They released the COVID pandemic. They did everything in the world. Why didn't they use a list back then? They don't have no list. They don't have nothing with Trump's name on it. The only thing they got is emails that Epstein was actually talking shit about Trump. Now, I'm just telling you what's going on. You just gotta pay attention. I hear so many people talking about President Trump as being bought and controlled by Israel when we know that Trump's been talking about going after Iran for many years. I just say, yo, we gotta be in together, we gotta come back together. And if we don't, we're doing this all for nothing. And you're gonna wake up one day and you're gonna wish you would have listened to me because we're gonna lose our country. We're already losing it. But I'm telling you right now, if you don't kick these Republicans, these Democrat fake Republicans out of office, we're gonna keep losing. We gotta keep exposing them. But while we expose them, we gotta start mentoring our own candidates so that our candidates are gonna go in there to represent us. And that's the only way we're gonna change things. So I hope you guys will support me. And let's get this thing done. And tell Ben Proto I'm on his ass, and I'm not stopping. So let's get it.
Steve had a couple shirts made up in honor of Rob Vidaro. It's got that moment where Rob and Chris Murphy were on stage together, and his quote on the back. So Steve only had a few of them made up. So if you guys are looking for one,
Large size, $25 a piece. There's only 2 left.
So I'd like to introduce you guys to John Flynn. He's the biggest conspiracy theorist that we have in Connecticut. I can call him my friend as well.
Yes, we are. Well, I do want to I never give the same speech. I am on Twitter. We did a speech this week, and we got 67,000 likes. Well, that's huge. I never get that many. But I do want to talk about something totally different. I mean, we've been talking to Linda D'Alessio for 8 years, and about the same things. Yes, they flipped 243,000 Trump votes to Biden in 2020. Yes, they did. We gave her the data in 2021. So here we go. We keep repeating and making the same mistakes. And unfortunately, I really haven't had, I'm building certain things which you guys should be using, but you're not. We have a debate tournament, electronic website, phone activated, called debateatourney.com. We're taking on all comers. No one's ever signed up. Ben Proto was asked to be a monitor. He refused. Well, that's okay. I'm just rolling with the punches. And our latest lawsuit, we served 90 people in February out of the 650. And it's the people you don't know that you should know, okay? Let me guarantee you that. The video that we posted and the documents that we posted last week that was popular is from Boston Consulting Group. Lamont paid him $2 million to sell all your personal information, including your DNA, to China, okay? For $2 million. He paid them to do it, okay? That's a popular, people say, how'd you get the contract? We have so many contracts, folks, that every single candidate should be banging on my door. Let me have the James contract. Why? That's how they rigged the election. Oh, did Linda D'Alessio ever mention Seidel? No, they count the vote in Spain. Connecticut votes are counted electronically in Spain. Connecticut in 2020 hacked Minnesota, Michigan, Pennsylvania, Vermont, and I have all the data. They hacked Arizona, Pima County, and Maricopa County. Got all the data, gave it to the DOJ. What'd they do? I intervened in their case. They said, no, they don't want me. So I went to court with them last week. They said, Mr. Flynn can't speak. And at the end, I gave them a ton of new stuff. So the fact of the matter is, the DOJ in Connecticut, James Comey ran the Connecticut DOJ, FBI, from New Haven, actually. And we sued him multiple times, okay? We just sued him again. The people on the list getting sued, for example, Judge White. Do you know anyone know Judge White? Okay, he's an oxy addict that killed his own daughter. Why is he sitting on the bench in Stamford in the criminal court? He wants to convict a guy named Sam Magliari, the most egregious lawsuit I've ever seen. 13 false arrests. He's a whistleblower from Stanford. He's an engineer. They murdered his niece with oxy. Judge White, Dr. Ahuja, went to jail, okay, for 18 months. He had a federal case heard, and Dr. Ahuja is a household name. Mike Ahuja, his brother, got caught with $18 million in the trunk of his car, driving cops in Stamford to Texas. It's in the federal screen. You can read the transcript. I can send you the transcript. People don't even know what the hell is going on in the federal court. We just sued Justice Dooley. Justice Dooley is running the DOJ case right now against Stephanie Thomas. But you know what it went? The whole transcript of the past hearing is going to sound like this. Hi, The DOJ wants to discriminate against illegal aliens, and if we give them the data, they'll go after them. Well, hold on a second. I mean, everything we've been talking about for 10 years, I'm blue in the face over, okay? Yeah, there's 43,300 Connecticut residents born before 1930, and half of them are over 223 years old. I swear to God, I could send you the data. There's ways to get the data, folks. So what we're doing by ourselves, pretty much, we've got something going on in 5G that is going to terrify you. They are surveilling you. They are tracking all these candidates that are speaking through misinformation at cisecurity.org, through Todd O'Boyle. Do you know who Todd O'Boyle is? Well, we sued him. He won't be coming. He works for Twitter. He's the disinformation Twitter guy, okay? The battle for the congressional seats in Connecticut is going to be on Twitter, okay? That's the only place that matters. You can't say certain things on Facebook. You'll never get there, folks. But you need to be very, very cautious about how they target you, because Sam Magliari was targeted by Judge White, and he was a whistleblower. And he's been in solitary confinement for 600 days for a misdemeanor. A misdemeanor. Actually, multiple misdemeanors. They gave him $2 million bond, which he posted $1 million, got out, and they rearrested him for putting twigs in his leaf pile on leaf pickup day. I'm telling you, folks, you don't have a First Amendment right. Anyone who thinks they have a First Amendment right, I can tell you right now, we have major defects right now with Whiting Forensic Hospital. 3 of the top doctors just resigned. Thank you very much. They're sued. There's torture going on there. And if you knew the Shahadi case, you'd understand that 49 people got fired for torturing the same guy for 7 years. They had a $9 million lawsuit. They won. The family didn't accept the money. Okay, there's cases after case after case. I just went to a PSRB hearing that would blow your mind. Everything is hearsay, no actual testimony from any doctor that ever worked on any of the patients. And I raised my hand for 37 minutes. Oh no, sorry, Mr. Flynn, you can't speak. Okay, great. I'm suing them next week. So all we have to do, folks, is draw a line in the sand and stick to your guns. I'm not allowed to have a gun. It's a great idea. But I'm telling you now, if you don't know who the judges are, that you need to knock out Judge Mullins, Judge Reed. Judge Reed is a criminal, folks. She runs the Bridgeport Criminal Court. It is a turnstile. It is horrific. So, I support Jonathan. I'm all about the Barros. Yeah, and I'll block for him. But we got to change our narrative to something that will actually work. Repeating the same thing to the same group all the time, I'm fine with that. I think it's great, because people call me later in the week and say, tell me what's this about? Tell me what's this about? I said, okay, well, I have a staff that is the most knowledgeable people in the entire state, okay? And they want to help. They're hamstrung, but we're never going to win, because nobody knows who Tyler Technologies is in this entire ring. Has anyone ever heard of them? Their IP address hacked every town in Connecticut. Gino knows, because I sent them the data on Derby. Tyler Technologies runs the Connecticut State back office in the court system. So like I just got finished saying, I just sued 90 people in February, 19 people in January. Blumenthal, Murphy, Himes, that's at the top. Above them is the State Media Commission. Judge Blowy of Sandy Hook controls the media. Every single media company has a guy on the board of the State Media Commission, and they have a meeting monthly. And then there's 5 other state commission boards that you need to know about, okay? Judge White, guess what he's in charge of? Habeas corpus. There hasn't been a habeas corpus case in Connecticut in 10 years. I filed 3,300 of them. Yeah. So I ought to know. Not one went to trial. Really? You've got to be kidding me. That is grandfathered in from the Constitution. It came from the Constitution. So you got to figure out how you corner them, how you knock them out, and it's all well and good that we have candidates, you know. I totally endorse Amy Chai. I totally endorse, you know, just about everyone I've ever met. But Fred Wilms from Norwalk, my chair, is currently rigging the delegates. Waterbury just rigged its delegates 2 days ago. And it's our meetings. There's a lot of meetings on the 24th. Norwalk is on the 24th. So we can't go to the state central meeting. And I keep getting tossed from the state central meeting. But I go, pay, and get tossed. You know what? They violated their entire, all their rules of conduct. So it doesn't matter, folks. What I'm just trying to say is if we don't up our game, you might think we're doing okay. But if we don't give them full court pressure on integrity and voting fraud, you're gonna lose. And I can change the outcome of the election with this phone. I'm not kidding. I can show you how to do it. But they will catch me. They can do it, and I've caught them. But look what Secretary of State Stephanie Thomas is saying right now to the DOJ. No, you can't have it because it's discrimination. You can't have the voter roll? I went to the meeting. It was a couple hours. Not one time did the Department of Justice mention the words cast vote record. Do you know what the cast vote record is? That's the printout as the votes come in. It's part of GEMS. It's part of Knowing. Do you know what software we're using right now? Anyone? Liberty. Do you know what Liberty is? Liberty is Knowing. Knowing bought Dominion Voting. We use Dominion Voting. Why would any candidate not get up here and say, what the hell are we doing? It's connected to Venezuela, Maduro. I have information that Murphy and Blumenthal received bribes from Maduro. I'm getting it. From Car Jabal. You know who that is? He's the whistleblower on Venezuela. Car Jabal. Look him up. He's saying he gave 60 senators in the U.S. House bribes. 60. He's going to speak. He's in custody in New York. It's a huge case. I'm going to go, but you know what? I can't share the information on Twitter about it. They won't let me. It's huge, folks. I'm telling you right now, the reason they went to Venezuela was not just fentanyl. It's Dominion Voting. It's Smartmatic. The same software in Smartmatic is used, rigged 120 elections in other countries. And if you don't think Connecticut's doing it, then why did they pay Tyler Technologies, Seidel? And guess who Staple Street Capital is? Anybody? Staple Street Capital is Hutan Yagobita, a hedge fund that bought the election software and can manipulate the votes in any country. So, I mean, we don't have a prayer putting all our time and effort into this if we don't give them full court pressure on voting. And I guarantee you I will be suing them no matter what. And yes, Betsy shouldn't, there's many candidates I'm aware of that won their elections, more than 10, that never made it to the 10. I'm telling you right now, I wouldn't vote for anyone other than her. Never. Because they can't afford to let her be controller. You know why? Whiting had $6.3 billion in Medicaid fraud in 2021. I have the whistleblower report. I am telling you right now, we make Minnesota look like a candy store. There's so much fraud that if we don't get on Twitter, we don't have a chance. Yes. And this is my friend Jason. I always bring the Aquaman with me. Thank you very much. I'm sorry it took so long.
Thank you, John Flynn. Did anybody else want to speak?
Yeah, because they got called.
Anybody else have anything to say? All right, you guys are welcome to stay. We got the place till 5. Like I said, I have signs here in the back just to motivate people to vote. If you guys are interested, they're $10 each. There's hats and other stuff back there, flags, etc., etc. We're gonna have more events like this in the future. You guys are welcome to come. Like I said, I have business cards to connect you to me and also to Polish Agnes. Polish Agnes is live streaming this, so if you guys want to share this out with your friends, just go on Polish Agnes on YouTube. What other platforms was this streamed on today?
Only Facebook and YouTube today.
Okay, it's only on Facebook and YouTube. So it'll remain on Facebook for 30 days. It'll be on YouTube pretty much forever. So, Polish Agnes, like I said, you can look this up. Thank you. Thanks everybody for coming out. I appreciate everybody.
Thank you for all you do, Agnes.
You're welcome. Alright guys, despite the difficulties that we had today, unfortunately I was unable to stream to 6 platforms just because the world wants to silence me for some reason. I am unable to stream to all my platforms, which is Twitch, Kick, Facebook, X, YouTube, Rumble. I don't know why, but I just couldn't make it happen today. I was trying really hard, and it just let me stream on Facebook and YouTube, which is kind of weird because those are the 2 platforms that you think that they will silence you first out of all the rest of them. But unfortunately, when it's happening to you, it's happening all over the place. And what we're doing here, whenever you talk about the vaccinations, election fraud, candidates, or anyone who is even close to threatening Democrats, you usually get these problems, and those problems right now are unfortunately on my back here, so I'm going to have to figure out what I'm going to do and make sure that next time when I try to stream, I have this figured out even better. I tried the streaming 5 times and I was connected with people, I still couldn't stream, and this was a really big problem. In the end, we have managed to just do 2 platforms. So on those 2 platforms, if you guys can share, follow, like, which is Facebook Polish Agnes and YouTube is Polish Agnes, I would really appreciate. We have had a huge audience today here. I'm paying for ads to distribute this whole entire stream. I hope you like the candidates. When I at first did not know that my stream was not really distributed, I walked around and showed a lot of the stuff, and then I figured out that I don't get any people in the room and there's something wrong. And it took me literally half an hour to make sure that I am live, which was extremely stressful, and I'm not going to tell you I was sweating bullets because I was getting information that we're about to start and I'm still not having a live stream going, which was really weird. But if you can make sure that to at least push me out there with the likes are doing really a lot, and if you just can click the like for the video that I'm producing, that would be awesome. We are going to have another event a month from now probably, so hopefully next time it will be a lot better. And for now, thank you so much. I appreciate you guys being here with us. I love you guys so much. And if you can help me anyhow with distributing this stuff that we're doing in Connecticut, I would really appreciate it.